My name is Susanna Tolboom. I'm a junior here at Angelo State University. My major is communications and Spanish. I am also the SI leader for Spanish 1301. I learned a lot about new cultures, about how people work, and my favorite thing about Spain was siesta time, because between 2 and 5 there was nobody out and about, so everybody took a nap. And I learned a lot more about Spanish and how to implement it and how to use my vocabulary in new ways. I definitely think that immersion is the best way to learn a language, because you have to speak it. You don't have any way out. You have to learn it. Most of the time they're very friendly and helpful, and it was a little nerve-wracking talking to people in Spanish, but by the end of the trip I felt more comfortable speaking it, and most of the time they were nice. The schoolwork was hard. We went to school from 9 a.m. to 1, and then we came back at 5 and went to 6:30 Monday through Wednesday. And that was hard, it was tiring, it was a lot of studying, but in the end we could implement what we were learning in class in our house that we were staying in, and then the people around us in the stores. There are many historical things in the town that we were staying. There was Santa Teresa, there was the wall, which was the longest standing wall, and then there was a cathedral, the oldest Gothic cathedral. And one Sunday afternoon, the group got together and went and walked on top of the wall around Avila. And it was a beautiful day, the clouds were beautiful, they almost looked photoshopped when we took pictures. And I think it took us about an hour to get around, and we took so many pictures and we had a lot of fun, and just it was really neat seeing the town we were staying from a bird's eye perspective. The cathedral that we found, there was a priest there. He was very nice, and he spoke to us in English and made us feel very welcome, and it was really neat just to go to church in the Spanish Mass. The church was called San Vicente. When we arrived to Segovia, there was lots of people on the streets, and it was a really big celebration that weekend, and there was people dressed as huge ostriches, there was people dressed as bugs, and there was music, and there was all sorts of, it was really fun, and there was all sorts of people on the streets selling things, and it was a really neat experience. Before we arrived at Segovia, we stopped at this place. It was a huge palace, and there was basically an art museum, and there was art and sculptures and paintings, and then outside there was a huge garden where it was just really beautiful. It was green, and there was water and fountains, and it was really beautiful. Salamanca was really beautiful. It had a really huge cathedral, and there was lots of weddings going on, and there was a university there. We got to tour the old university, and what was really neat about the university was that the ceilings were all different. That's what I took away from that. And they sat on benches that were this long. That could not have been comfortable. I really enjoy learning about the different art and history, because when compared to the United States, it's really different, and it's nice to broaden what I know about history and art, and how things are, how each country has their own unique style and where they came from and what makes them what they are today. I definitely believe traveling enriches a person's life, because you get to experience new cultures, you get to learn different ways people do things, and it just makes you more open-minded to accepting people back in Texas that are different than you. I definitely recommend studying abroad. Studying abroad was one of the best opportunities that I've ever had, and I'm really glad I took advantage of it. I learned a lot, and I would definitely do it again. If you have the opportunity to go outside of our country, I suggest you take it because you will learn a lot about not just yourself, but about our country and in other countries and cultures in the world.
My name is Nguyễn Xuân Quỳnh, and my first name is Quỳnh. I'm an English major at ASU. I came here as a transfer student from Vietnam, and I came here last year. What I learned in America is that I learned how to be more independent. Like when I came here, I was so stressed at how American students work. Well, I came from a city, quite a small one. It's a tourist city in the middle of Vietnam, and it's called Hue. It's really famous for tourism and education and hospital. I think the most important thing and obvious thing that I can get in America and not in Vietnam is the environment for our language study. So, you know, like in order to learn, is because English is not my first language. It's just my second language. So, in order to achieve a really good competence of a foreign language, I need to immerse in a real context, a real environment for that language. That's why I think the very absolute advantage of America is the environment. Because I go to college and I cover every day with English from my professors to my friends and in meals, and you know, going everywhere is all English. So I think it's very beneficial. Of course, as we know, America and the UK, United Kingdom, are the two countries that has, the really origins of English. So being one of these two countries, I think is really beneficial for me already. Not counting the environment, not counting the education, but also, you know, like a whole lot cultures from different backgrounds. I can manage and I can like having more knowledge for myself, and of course I can, if I travel more and then I get more knowledge from other people, then I can answer the questions from my students. One of the most obvious personal difficulties for me is homesick. And that could be explained through culture difference, because I come from an Asian country, and when I came here, it's totally different from that culture in a Western country compared to an Asian country in Vietnam. So when I came here, my friends were like, well, they're not really close and not as dependent on each other like in Asian cultures, where we're like clutch together and then go everywhere together, but not in here, not really like that in here. So I was kind of shocked for the first time, but I kind of get familiar later on. So I think traveling is very important, and I think that traveling enables me to have more knowledge and know more people, know more about their culture, and I think it has really turned me into a tolerant person, to really accept cultures that are different from mine. So it is not a must. It's not compulsory to go out of the country, because they still can travel not only by physically traveling, but also like through channels online or through the TV. It's still a kind of opening knowledge about other cultures, you know.